Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega, a former leftist guerrilla, first ascended to power after fighting to overthrow the brutal Somoza dictatorship in the late 1970s. He returned to the presidency in 2007, and he has since gradually dismantled the country's democracy. Ortega's party, the Sandinista National Liberation Front, FSLN, dominates Nicaragua's National Assembly, allowing him to push through draconian legislation to quash dissent. Ortega has also used force to silence critics. In 2018, he ordered violent crackdowns against protesters, leaving over 300 dead and hundreds more injured and imprisoned. Since that crackdown, Ortega has intensified media censorship, the harassment of opposition candidates, and restrictions on civil society organizations. One of those censored by the Ortega regime is Carlos Fernando Chamorro, an independent journalist and founder of Confidencial.
My newsroom was assaulted for a second time. Again, no legal order, no justification, only brute force.
Ahead of the November 2021 presidential election, as Ortega campaigned for a fourth consecutive term, he arrested a range of opposition leaders and former allies, driving the country deeper into authoritarianism. Ortega's targets included prominent figures such as Cristiana Chamorro, Arturo Cruz, Felix Maradiaga, Juan Sebastián Chamorro García, and Miguel Mora. Today, there are over 200 political prisoners in Nicaragua, and regular reports of inhumane treatment such as isolation and inadequate medical care. We spoke with José Miguel Vivanco, former executive director of the Americas Division at Human Rights Watch, about Nicaragua's alarming human rights crisis.
I don't think the crisis in Nicaragua is getting enough attention. What is going on is absolutely amazing in terms of a setback for human rights and democratic values in the region.
As a result, Ortega faces mounting international pressure and a range of sanctions from the United States and the European Union. The UN Human Rights Council, the Organization of American States, and Human Rights Watch have demanded the immediate release of political prisoners and urged the Nicaraguan government to hold free and fair elections. This is what Michelle Bachelet, former president of Chile and former UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, tells us.
Eso es muy muy importante, de verdad, porque la gente que protesta en la calle se siente abandonada, ¿no? Entonces, que los estudiantes, que la sociedad civil sepa que no están solos, que hay muchos que están preocupándose, creo que los alienta a seguir. Incluso la gente que está detenida, los alienta a seguir.
In August, Organization of American States members overwhelmingly approved a resolution denouncing the regime's abuses, including the forced closure of non-governmental organizations and the harassment and arbitrary restrictions placed on religious organizations. In October, US President Joe Biden issued an executive order banning Americans from conducting business in Nicaragua's gold sector, increasing pressure on Daniel Ortega's regime. Nevertheless, Ortega is not changing course. This year alone, he has shut down over 2,000 NGOs, including over 50 media outlets. We spoke with former President of Costa Rica, Chinchilla, about the erosion of Nicaragua's democracy.
The democratic collapse in Nicaragua will mean a serious defeat for democracy in a region where many alarms are already sounding because of the deterioration in terms of human rights and democratic standards.
In June, the regime seized control of 5 municipalities controlled by the opposition, and by the beginning of November, it already controlled all 153 municipalities in Nicaragua. As repression continues, Nicaraguans are fleeing by the thousands. The United States has detained a record of 164,000 Nicaraguans this year, more than triple the total in 2021. In neighboring Costa Rica, asylum requests are expected to reach 80,000 this year, up more than 33%.